Okay, Phil. So next on the list, and I should just start by saying I aired in the last conversation an American Honey by saying that was the third in your American trilogy, meaning American titles, but actually it must be a quadrilogy because you had American Beauty, American Graffiti, American Honey, and now we're at American Hustle, which is David O. Russell, right? 2014.
Yeah.
And the song you chose from that is, well, why don't you talk about it actually?
Okay, and actually, Scott, there probably could have been a fifth film. I did contemplate American Psycho, which, you know, you've seen that, right?
Yep, yep.
Remember how the weird way it uses Huey Lewis and
Phil Collins and
there's another. The two I remember most are the Huey Lewis and another song. It wasn't Phil Collins, it was something else. Anyway, so with American Hustle, I had to go back and look at the scene because when I originally started to write the entry for it in Clipography, my first choice was the Chicago song. Does anybody really know what time it is? Which is very easy to remember because it's where Christian Bale at a party meets Amy Adams for the first time, and it's a total Scorsese thing. You know, they go to the slow motion and the song starts up, and I love that song. But then when I went back to the entry I wrote on the blog, I singled out Electric Light Orchestra's 10538 Overture as the best use of music. And yet I couldn't really remember how it was used. I had a vague memory of an airport. So I had to go back and look at that. And I'm glad I picked that because it is a great scene. It probably doesn't play long enough. It's loud enough, but it's not long enough. It only plays for about 30 seconds, I think. I've always loved that song. So anyway, in the scene, and I can't remember the total context, but I think that Bradley Cooper has enlisted Christian Bale and Amy Adams to help him frame a congressman, played by the guy who was in The Hurt Locker, Jeremy Rennick.
Okay.
And they're meeting, and they've also got this other guy working with them, and they meet him in an airplane just before they come off the airplane, pretending to be coming from Saudi Arabia or something, to meet up with Jeremy Rennick. And it's funny, they're talking in the airplane, and the guy he's dressed up like an Arab, and he's pretending, I think, to be an oil guy from one of the Arabic countries. And he complains, he says, well, Abscam, that sounds racist to me. It sounds like Arab scam. And Christian Bale looks at him, he says, are you fucking kidding me? He says, you're Mexican. And then right as soon as he says that, the song starts up. and they do some really nice camera work. They come off the plane and they got a couple of close-ups. It's great. And I was going to say the American Hustle is kind of like American Beauty in that, you know, it came out, it got really great reviews in some quarters, and it won a lot of awards. And then this backlash set in almost immediately, even before awards season, I think. And a lot of people just hate it. It's a kind of film that I normally don't like because it's this sort of broad comedy, but I really like that film. I've seen it at least 3 or 4 times, and I think I like it a lot.
And don't you say in your write-up, and by the way, I'm going to watch the movie soon. I've been meaning to for a long time. It's easy to see on TV right now, I believe, on Netflix or something. But don't you say in your review that the ELO song is used twice?
It is. It's used later. I didn't even check that. That was the use I had on my mind most. It is used later in the film. I can't remember how. Maybe it's used again.
I think you said at the end, near the end credits or something. I think.
Yeah, that could be. There are other great uses of music. Live and Let Die is used really well in that film. There's a couple more too that I really like. I just can't think of them offhand. I think when in the entry on the blog, I think I said it was my favorite. Probably changed since I wrote that, but at the time it was my favorite music movie halfway through the decade.
Oh, okay. And you did mention in your entry that there were 5 or 6 other songs that you worth their own entry. One thing I did when I was just sort of going through some notes in your write-ups, For some, I don't know what prompted me to look up ELO in movies and then American Hustle, but I actually found two. This ties in with what we were saying in the last, in one of our last entries about how, you know, there's lists about this stuff all over the place right now. And two of the lists I found, one is not that surprising. One is the 10 best musical moments from American Hustle. But this one I found quite interesting. 10 electric light orchestra songs that made films better.
Wow.
And that was on it's a good one, actually. I didn't read the whole thing. It's actually it's on that Consequence of Sound site. So it's
okay.
It's fairly well written, I think. And of course they have I mean, the only other one I could think of was the Boogie Nights. It's which one is it?
First thing I
the
thought
Living
of.
Thing, right? Living Thing.
Yeah, Living Thing, and I thought they could have just as easily used Do Ya.
Yeah. Which one?
Do Ya.
Oh, and I thought at the time, I remember way back, your joke on that was they could have also used Turn to Stone.
Okay, maybe
given the context.
Yeah, right. No, I was thinking, Do You Want My Love?
Okay. I guess you have a whole bunch of those songs.
Yeah, I still think of that as a move song. I wonder what I'll have to look at that. I wonder what else
Can you think of any offhand?
I was thinking something like, I'll bet you they turn up Somewhere in Mindhunter, and I don't know if that would be on that. I don't know when that list came out.
Okay.
And if they say film, then Mindhunter, if they specify film, Mindhunter wouldn't be on there.
It does say films, yeah. So I'll look at I didn't look closely at it, but I'll look again. So.
Well, I'd love to see a film that uses Can't Get It Out of My Head well. I love that song.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Let's move
on. And just one last
thing. Unless you have anything else to add. Yeah, absolutely.
Just the David O. Russell, the follow-up film he made called Joy, which really didn't do all that well. It's also with Jennifer Lawrence. That has some good musical moments too.